Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I am so sorry for my absence here on YouTube. I know I started my last video with that as well, but January was just insanely busy for me. I had a ton of work on and I just didn't have any time for videos, but hopefully February will be better and I'm going to get stuck back into things with a good old-fashioned bag review and comparison. So I'm going to be talking about my Gucci Velvet Mini Marmont Flap and then comparing it to my small leather flap as well. I'm going to be doing kind of 1 year update on this in terms of wear and tear and just generally how I've been liking it, because it has been a little bit over a year since I got this one, and then doing a size and a fabric or material comparison between the two. So I hope you guys enjoy this and let's get going. So first up, I'm going to be discussing my first impressions of my Gucci Velvet Marmont Flap. I've had this now for a few months and I've used it a fair amount. It's kind of been my go-to bag over the holiday season. So my first impressions are generally mixed, I would say. I do really love the style of it. Obviously, I'm a fan of the Marmont Flap style, which is why I now have 3 of them, but I've also completely fallen in love with the size. I'll do a size comparison later, but the capacity really surprised me. I thought it would be quite a bit of a drop in terms of how much it can hold, and I haven't found that to be the case. This is more than enough for all the essentials that I need, so I've been pleasantly surprised by the size. The only thing which I've been a little bit less sure of is the wear and tear. I will do some close-up shots so you can see what I'm talking about, but I have noticed that the wear on the corners in particular hasn't been that great. I do want to caveat that by saying that I'm not 100% sure that that wasn't there when I first bought it. I'm pretty particular about my bags. I do think I inspected it, but I just didn't notice that. So whilst I do suspect that it happened more recently, I also can't say for sure. So if you also have a velvet flap, then please let me know if you also have experienced wear on the corners or if this is just a feature of the bag, because I really don't know. It's not massively concerning because obviously it is a black bag, so you really have to get up really close to see, but I am definitely monitoring that to see if it'll continue. But that is so far the only issue I've had with it. Yes, the material does attract quite a bit of dust, so I do have to get a lint roll out every now and then, but as you can see, you know, it's looking pretty good, and I've lint rolled this maybe twice since I've had it, so not a huge amount. I am quite careful with what I wear, so if I had a really white fluffy jumper, I probably wouldn't choose this to pair with it, so I'm just kind of mindful, but it hasn't been a big issue and I do really love the look of it. I'm going to open it up now and show you the inside. So the inside has this beautiful pink satin lining, which I love. It was a bit of a surprise to me because I was expecting the same lining as the leather one, which has more of a microfiber lining, but I absolutely love it. I was concerned about it staining, but so far so good. It's worn pretty well. I'm not sure if this will be true for, you know, years to come, but so far I like it, and I think the pop of colour is just very fun, and it does kind of add to the luxurious feel of the bag with the satin and the combination of velvet as well. Has a little pocket there which isn't zipped up, it's just an open one, but as you can see, a fair bit of space, and I do think the lining is a fun touch, even if it might not be the most practical. And then the other thing to mention with this one is the shape. So this is the mini size, and I don't have a leather version in the mini size, so I don't know if the shape is down to the size or the fabric, but I can say that this holds its shape a lot better than the smaller size in the leather version. So a big concern for me with the smaller flaps is how pointy it gets at the top. As you can see, mine isn't too bad at all, but that is because I'm very careful with it. I'm very conscious of how I carry it, but over time, if you're constantly going to wear it either with just one strap or crossbody, this definitely does get pointy. I've seen it on other people's and it is an issue with the bag. However, I have pretty much exclusively been using the mini crossbody and I've had no issues, and it just in general seems to have a much more rounded shape. Again, I don't know if this is due to the size, it being a bit smaller, or to do with the fabric, or a combination of both. It could be either. But if you want to wear it crossbody, then I would say that the mini velvet is a much better option than the leather in the small size, just because I think it will continue to wear like this. You know, I don't see any signs of it getting very pointy, and as I said, I've exclusively worn it crossbody or with one handle, so I love that about that because I think this bag does look very cute crossbody, and generally my preference is always to wear bags with one strap anyway, so the fact that I can wear this bag like that carefree is really a plus point. So overall, my first impressions are pretty good. I do still really like it. I've really been enjoying it. The only cause for concern for me is the wear around here. Next up is my all leather Gucci Marmont Flap, and I've had this now a little bit over a year, so I got it not last Christmas but the Christmas before, and it's done pretty well. I've used it an absolute ton, not quite as much recently just because I have been using my nude flap so much, and if you are debating between the two colours, I would definitely recommend the nude. The black is great too, but I think this is just a great neutral shade, just absolutely beautiful. But for the purposes of this review, I'm going to use the black one just because I have had it a little bit longer. So overall, I would say that the wear and tear has been pretty good on this bag. I've heard varying things on either side of the spectrum. Some people have said that it wears really badly, other people say it wears really well. I'm probably more in the middle, and I definitely think there's an element of it wears how you treat it and how you take care of it. That said, there are always going to be, you know, quality discrepancies across every single brand. It's true of Gucci, it's true of Chanel, it's true of almost every brand I can think of, but generally speaking, in terms of my experience, this bag has done pretty well. You know, it looks really good. The leather has been very durable, so I've heard others say that it scratches up really easily. I have not had that experience at all, and I will include some close-up shots so you can see exactly what I mean, but I mean, I really can't see any scratches at all. It just seems to be very durable, and I haven't even had to buff it out. You know, it's not a case of a scratch appears and I have to kind of massage it out. Not true at all. I just haven't had any scratches on this bag. So the hardware has also been pretty good. I would say that the interior lining does have the habit of getting a little bit dirty. It is very pale and it is that kind of microfiber lining, but I have just been able to use a cloth and wipe it clean, and it looks good as new. So it's done very well in that regard as well. The only complaint I would have is the shape, which is something that I have mentioned before, but if you do like to wear your bags crossbody or with just one long strap like I do, then you are running the risk of it getting very pointy and flat at the top. So this is going to be true of almost every flat bag you can think of, unless like Chanel they introduce a double flap, which does help it keep its shape. But for something like this, which only has the single flap, you are going to see that pointiness appear at the top. Mine isn't too bad, and that is really because I limit myself on how much I wear it crossbody or with just a single strap. In a perfect world, I would not have to worry about that, and you know, it'd be absolutely fine regardless, but I am very conscious of it, so I do try and just mainly use the bag with the double straps, which does help protect its shape. So definitely something to keep in mind. If you are a fan of wearing your bags exclusively crossbody, then you may want to reconsider this one. I have seen women who seem to exclusively wear theirs crossbody, and they do look very flat and very distorted. So that's just personal preference. For me, I can live without wearing this crossbody all the time, but maybe you might want to look at the mini in the velvet or the other fabrics and see if the shape will maintain it as well. But for me, that is pretty much the only negative of this bag. I was worried about sagging at the bottom, and I don't know if you can see that, but there is very minor sagging, but not nearly as bad as I thought it would be. And considering this bag is over a year old and I have been using it quite consistently, I've been fairly impressed with how it's worn. So overall, I would say this is probably a solid 7 or 8 out of 10 for me. Again, I've taken care of it. You know, I don't wear it crossbody a lot, but still I think it's done very well, and I haven't really babied this bag in any other way. You know, I use it for travel, I use going out, I don't worry about it, I'm not checking for scratches, and it's pretty durable overall. Okay, so I have my 2 Marmont flaps right here, and I filled my small leather flap full of items, and I'm going to transfer the contents of this bag into this bag to see what will fit and how much I have to leave out. So this one is pretty much full. It does hold a lot, so I didn't fill it completely chock full. I probably could fit a few more things in there, but there is a lot in there already. So I have a little face spray, I have some perfume, I have an LV key holder, I have a little zippy coin purse from LV, I have another card holder, I have my passport, I have my phone, I have a lipstick, I have a lip balm, I have a little compact, I have a hair clip, I also have some hand cream as well. So as you can see, there is quite a lot of stuff in there. It is a fairly large and roomy bag. And let's see how much can fit in the velvet flap. Got my phone. Got my purse. Put my passport in there. Got my keys. Put a compact in there. Put another card holder. Put a lip balm and a lipstick. And I think we're pretty much done. I can maybe also fit in a perfume if I wanted to. I could just rest it on top of there and, you know, it closes without any problems. That's absolutely fine. So I did have to miss out a face mist, a hair clip, and also a rather large hand cream as well. I could obviously swap things around. That is probably a bit more full than I would want to have it, so I'd probably leave out the perfume or take out something else. I really don't need kind of a card holder, a purse, a key holder and everything, but this is just to show you. So if you pack it well, you can fit a fair bit in there. Not quite as much as the small flap, but still everything that I would need for sure. So this is what the two look like when worn. There is a slight length difference. So this is my mini velvet and then this one is my small leather one. And the small size does drop down a little bit more. I do prefer the length of this slightly, but honestly there isn't a huge amount in it. As you can see, it is pretty minor. And this is what they both look like crossbody. Again, there isn't a huge amount in it. They both sit at pretty similar lengths and heights, I think. My mini and my small. And then finally, this is what they look like just worn doubled up. And there is definitely a bit more of a noticeable difference here. The mini does sit a little bit higher. I wouldn't necessarily wear the mini like this. I think it is just a little bit too short and small, but I have no issue wearing the smaller flap like this. And then finally, I thought I would wrap this video up by sharing my opinion of the two and which one I would pick if I had to. And I'm afraid I don't have a super clear-cut answer on this. I like different aspects of both of them. If you are solidly a crossbody girl, then I would say that the mini is much more of a no-brainer. You know, you do have to be very conscious of how you wear the small leather one, which is not something I love about it. But on the other hand, I do think that the material is much more hard-wearing than the velvet. Again, I'm going to really monitor how the corner wear progresses, but the fact that that's already happening after a couple of months doesn't fill me with a whole ton of confidence. And there is also the fact that this is more of a seasonal bag, so velvet is a beautiful material to have, you know, during autumn and winter, but I don't know if I'm going to get that much use out of it in the summer, whereas this is really an all-rounder. You know, you can wear it in summer and also winter, and also the leather is just very, very carefree. So if you're debating between the two, I would probably say this one, unless you are really intent on wearing crossbody, and then I would definitely look at the mini options. So that is it for this video, guys. I hope that you enjoyed it. Hopefully I covered everything that you wanted to know, but if there was anything I missed out, then leave it for me down below and I will try and answer you. If you enjoyed this video, then please do give it a thumbs up, and as always, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next one. Bye, guys.